Liberalism emphasizes individual rights, equality, and limited government intervention in the economy. Conservatism advocates for traditional values, free market capitalism, and a limited role of government. Socialism seeks to redistribute wealth and promote social equality through collective ownership of the means of production. Capitalism advocates for private ownership of the means of production and free market competition to drive economic growth. Communism advocates for a classless society where the means of production are collectively owned and controlled by the community. Anarchism opposes hierarchical authority and advocates for a stateless society based on voluntary cooperation and mutual aid. Libertarianism advocates for minimal government intervention in both social and economic affairs, emphasizing individual liberty and personal responsibility. Fascism advocates for authoritarian government, nationalism, and the suppression of dissenting voices. Democratic socialism advocates for a mixed economy with democratic political institutions and social ownership of key industries. Progressivism advocates for social reform and government intervention to address social and economic inequality. Neoliberalism emphasizes free market policies, deregulation, and privatization to promote economic growth and efficiency. Authoritarianism advocates for centralized power and strict obedience to authority, often at the expense of individual rights and freedoms. Environmentalism advocates for the protection of the environment and sustainable development practices. Nationalism emphasizes the interests and identity of a nation-state, often with a focus on sovereignty and patriotism. Populism appeals to the concerns of ordinary people against the elite, often advocating for direct democracy and anti-establishment policies. Marxism seeks to analyze and critique capitalism, advocating for the eventual transition to a classless society. Social democracy advocates for a mixed economy with strong social welfare programs and progressive taxation. Neoconservatism advocates for a robust foreign policy, promotion of democracy abroad, and conservative social values. Paleoconservatism emphasizes limited government, traditional values, and non-interventionist foreign policy. Neoliberalism advocates for free market policies, globalization, and limited government intervention in the economy. Feminism advocates for gender equality and the dismantling of patriarchal structures and norms. Multiculturalism emphasizes the coexistence of diverse cultural identities within a society, often promoting policies of inclusion and tolerance. Postcolonialism critiques the legacy of colonialism and seeks to address its lasting effects on societies and cultures. Anarcho-capitalism advocates for a stateless society with private property rights and free market capitalism. Islamic fundamentalism advocates for strict adherence to Islamic principles and the establishment of Sharia law. Syndicalism advocates for workers' control of the means of production through labor unions and collective action. Pacifism advocates for nonviolent resistance and opposition to war and militarism. Technocracy advocates for governance by experts and professionals based on scientific principles and technological expertise. Centrism emphasizes moderation and compromise, seeking to find solutions that balance competing interests. Pluralism emphasizes diversity and tolerance, advocating for the coexistence of multiple viewpoints and identities within society. Totalitarianism advocates for centralized control by the state, often involving suppression of dissent and extensive government authority. Social conservatism emphasizes traditional social values and institutions, often advocating for limited social change and a focus on family values. Techno-progressivism advocates for the use of technology and science to drive social progress and address societal challenges, often emphasizing innovation and sustainability. Agrarianism advocates for an agricultural society, often prioritizing rural values, small-scale farming, and local self-sufficiency over industrialization and urbanization. Eco-socialism combines elements of socialism and environmentalism, advocating for social ownership of the means of production, along with ecological sustainability and conservation. Market socialism seeks to combine elements of socialism and market economics, advocating for social ownership of key industries alongside